Everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey, everybody, Cantonese Cat here. My brain's getting slower and slower. I keep drinking more and more wine. I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to make it through the video here. Just did a video on Mara, ticker symbol MERA. Just this past weekend, cautiously trying to pump the stock. You never really want to fully pump and just go, insane crazy. Like you want to just have a little bit of a bullish kind of tint to it, thinking it's going to make all-time high and a little higher. And there were some criticisms last time too. I think there might be some shorts that are paying attention to some of the content. I guess my follower count and my subscriber count has gotten high enough that it's starting to get targeted by a lot of trolls and a lot of bears that feel very passionate about how Marathon's not going to do very well. One of the arguments is that they keep diluting shares, so it doesn't make any sense to do a Fibonacci level from cycle high to cycle bottom because there's just been so much shares that have been out there for a long time. I don't understand that argument. What did they dilute the shares for? Did they just dilute it just so that they can dump it down the drain? No, they're doing it to have expansions, have growth. Their machines are worth something. These are ultra growth companies. They're extremely volatile. Their market cap is not that big. It doesn't take a whole lot of capital to really try to pump them. And in a true irrational bull market, people stop caring about dilution. Everything gets absorbed. Institutionals have been absorbing Mara like crazy. For the current Fintel.io data, you have 43% institutional data of institutional accumulation holding. And for the month of May, you actually have a spike up over here of accumulation by institutions. They know what's up, or they seem to know what's up anyway. Not every single time institution is going to be like smart money. It doesn't always work like that, but a lot of times they are, right? Is this data confirmed with the black hat fund flow trend? Yes, it is. A spike up. Despite the price over here is lower than what it was 2 or 3 months ago, the whale accumulation has increased. What happened last time we have something like this? Down, down, a little bit of reversal candle over here. Down, down, a little bit of reversal candle over here. What did the whale trend show? Up, up, and up, right? Up, up, and up. I think we might be getting pretty close in terms of trying to absorb all the supply around here. There has been a lot of supply around here. Price has been kind of ranging, bouncing between these two volume shelf over here for about half a year, right? Let me get rid of all this junk right here. Let me get rid of the volume shelf over here and just look at the Fibonacci level. Not perfectly drawn. I'm going to try to do a little bit better over here. If Bitcoin goes crazy, which I think there's a potential for do, and if things get very, very irrational, it's not unreasonable to expect 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level. Just like it was not unrealistic to expect price to go from like $3 all the way up to like in the 30s, just in a matter of a year. And that could have been just the first wave of the entire elite wave of the 5 waves, and wave 3 could be more powerful than anything else. You can tell me to be cautious. You can tell me that what I'm saying may not be right. You can say that what I'm saying has risk because I'm expecting something crazy that may or may not happen. I can accept that. But to say it can't happen, show me your space traveling machine. I don't have one. I also don't have any insider information either. And you don't see me going around commenting on like bearish posts on Mara or bearish videos on Mara. I don't care. Anyway, if you watched my previous video, I'm just going to go through this here real quick. You've already seen a lot of the indicators I use besides the black hat trend oscillator in terms of whale fund flow. You can see the Ichimoku cloud with the Tenkan and Kijun cross, bullish cross over here, just like you had a bullish cross over here with the red crossing underneath the blue line over here. And you can see that if you look at the Bollinger Band. You can see the 20-month moving average, which is the orange line over here, starting to grow up here for a few months before really pushing price up a lot higher. You can see that how the Bollinger Band over here is also curving, and then go up over here. Right? I've shown you all this stuff before. This just looked very, very similar to this over here. Doesn't mean that these two are the same exact location. You're going to end up having 5 big, giant bean kettles closing way outside of Bollinger Band to go all the way up. No, not necessarily. I mean, it could be more and more like a steady kind of thing going up. This cycle may last a little bit longer, maybe, because it seems to want to try to find these kind of, good footing before climbing up higher. So it might be a little slower, and it is possible it might not get to as high as it was, during the last cycle. Last cycle really went pretty crazy. It went from like 40 cents all the way up to like 80 bucks, 90 bucks. I mean, like, do I think it's going to go from like $3 all the way to like, I don't know, like 1,000? I don't think that's going to be the case, right? But I think it's possible. It's reasonable to expect that it could potentially push the level up here in the 40s. It's also reasonable to expect them to push the all-time high over here around the 80s. I think it's reasonable because of the institutional accumulation that's been happening. And because Bitcoin, if it continues to go up, if it goes 6 figures, Mara and other miners, they're going to make so much money. It's ridiculous. Plus, if you end up having the layer 2s like Rune and Ordinals continue to do well, and you end up having a very much heated altcoin market and altcoin season, you might see fees also spiking up, and miners may continue to make a ton of money. And if you continue to see Bitcoin go up, the speculation of Bitcoin prices going up even higher is going to be there. And guess who have the machine to make more Bitcoin? Miners. So the valuation is going to drop into irrational levels potentially if Bitcoin ends up being irrational. So what's the update last time? Since last time, just a few days ago. There's really not much update, is there? Let's show the daily chart. I'm going to show you how insignificant so far the price action has been. I'll show you what happened. I made the video right around here. Right, it was Friday. The weekend came, made a bullish video. Next thing you know, shot up 20%. Right now it's just forming a little bit of bull flag and consolidation sideways. Honestly, nothing's happening so far. Post earnings, missed revenue expectation, but they're still growing like insane. Price didn't really budge. Bitcoin's going up so far. After hours, it seems to be doing pretty well, right? Seems to be trying to challenge the 6,300 level. And Mara just kind of going sideways post earnings. It's not really doing a whole lot, which is okay. What else do you see here with this bull flag? You see a double bottom over here, don't you? Matter of fact, this double bottom is actually consists of a higher high and higher low and higher high. What happened last time you had this setup over here? Very similar to here, right? Double bottom, higher high, higher low. Yeah, higher high up here. On the daily chart, this is a pretty decent reversal pattern, although when it comes to daily chart, reliability rate is not as high as the weekly chart, which you can tell that is in a bull trend because 20 is still above 50, is still above 100. And price has been getting support by a rising 50-week moving average so far. Any particular divergences that are getting you excited by looking at the chart? Let's pull out the RSI and take a look. RSI. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm going to pull out the 2 weeks over here. It's going to be maybe a little bit more. Yeah, there's not much of divergence over here, but I'm also not really seeing any concerning bearish divergence over here either. On the monthly, I'm definitely not really seeing any concerning bearish divergence here anymore. On the weekly, there's a pretty interesting thing that have kind of been playing out currently, where price is kind of going up a little bit over here, but RSI has been kind of trending down. I see a little bit of like a hidden bullish divergence over here is starting to kind of play out a little bit. We'll see whether or not this is able to push price a lot higher. Because what basically happened is you have an RSI reset over here over the last couple of months, actually last 4 months, right? The RSI got way too hot, way too fast, got to 80. It had to cool down. So price just went sideways, range bound. This is a pretty bullish thing as far as I'm concerned. If you look at the range, It's just been basically trading between this range and this range over here. There's a hammer bottom candle over here. This is generally a pretty good bottom. Could potentially push up even higher, right? Volume starting to kind of pick up here a little bit. We'll see what happens on Friday, tomorrow, after earnings. Usually there might be a little bit of a shakeout, but we'll see, right? But basically, it's just been kind of going around between these two horizontal zones over here. Top of range, bottom of range, top of range, bottom of range. When you get to the bottom of range, you bet traders are going to come in. Institutions already set up the floor over here. Traders are going to come in. They're going to try to buy the bottom of range and try to wrap. They might try to sell over here, but next thing you know, market makers might say, hey, we're already tested a lot of support over here. Let's just gap up and just punt this thing up. There's always that possibility, right? What if Bitcoin corrects? Well, it could end up closing a gap down here, right? There's a gap here on the weekly chart. The gap's going to end up closing around 13.7. Does it have to go down like another 30-40% and close down the gap before going up higher? You never know, right? I don't think so. I do think that altcoins looking like they might be getting ready to run. Looks like Bitcoin, there's a possibility, as far as I'm concerned, there's a possibility that Bitcoin could have bottomed when it went down to like 58K and tested the demand down there. So there's to me, I think there's a pretty decent chance where this could have been it, bottom of range, going back test to the top of range. And I think third time might be a charm, and we might end up breaking above back test and going higher. That's definitely a scenario that I favor. And if you look and see if there's any other divergences that you can see that maybe getting you a little bit more cautious or maybe getting you a little bit more bullish, let's look at 2 week over here. What you're seeing here is the on-balance volume. And I do see, again, another hidden bullish divergence here. Price went way up. The unbalanced volume actually kind of went down a little bit here, right? So I see a little bit of a hidden bullish divergence over here, which could mean that there's more bullish energy that's been building up based on this consolidation over here on its way up, right? If you just look at the weekly volume, you can tell, again, buying volume up, sell volume down, right? Sell volume seemed exhausted. We'll see whether or not, I mean, I was thinking this week's volume really isn't that great, unfortunately, right? Even though it went up quite high, it wasn't really able to sustain that move because, it wasn't really that high commitment, unfortunately, but we'll see. I mean, earnings is behind us. Maybe a potential negative catalyst is behind us. We'll see what Bitcoin does, but I think that there's a good chance that we might end up just keep going up from here. That was Mara. I usually bundle this with Bitfarm because I think that these two charts really look very, very similar. If you just count Bitfarm, basically, it seems like it was on a bull trend. It seems to overshoot Mara a little bit. In a bear trend, it tends to overshoot Mara a little bit too, right? So you can see a very, very nice head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder pattern over here, breakout. Got to the target back test before potentially going higher, right? You can see the buy volume has just been insane. Sell volume has just been exhausted. You have candles number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 red weekly candles over here on greatly declined volume. Like, this is like crazy, It's Thursday. So far, volume is non-existent. Is it calling up for something? Is it calling up to go down a lot further to test this volume shelf down here? Or is it calling because sellers are exhausted over here and you have kind of like a fork over here, which is basically a triple equivalent to a tweezer bottom, right? These tweezer bottoms generally are very, very good bottoms, right? And if you have three kind of legs over here, it means a lot of a lot of demand has been tested down here at the bottom of the shelf over here, right? So range bound, right, between these two areas right here. Right now it's the bottom of the range. What's gonna happen? I mean, traders probably gonna want to push it up from here. Certainly looks like the sellers are exhausted. Certainly looks like there seems to be a floor demand over here at this region around between like 1.7 to like $2, somewhere around there. Certainly seems there's a decent demand down here. You test the demand, where else is gonna happen? Market makers, everybody, they get bored, right? Something's gonna happen. Probably gonna go up. If you look at the trend, oh, that's a little bit weird. That's a 2 week. There you go. That's a weekly. So look like maybe finding support over here in the rising 50-week moving average, 20 over 50 over 100. 20 could potentially serve as a little bit of headwind over here, but does it have to be a strong headwind? No, because when it was rising, it just kind of broke right through. Who's to say we just won't break right through again? But so far, this is still objectively a bull trend. I'm sorry I've been objectified so much. I just keep anyway. About that, let's move on. Ichimoku cloud, 2 week inside the cloud over here, just bouncing, not doing a whole lot. Right. Weekly cloud, still above it. Is it going to back test the cloud? Is it going to get up going sideways over here, touch the cloud and go up? Is it going to go down further and touch the cloud before going up? Depends what Bitcoin does. Depends what IWM does. Both of those actually look like there's maybe gaining some short-term strength to me. But so far, just been kind of consolidating sideways for about 4 weeks, and the volume for this downtrend looks just completely exhausted on the weekly. So there's that for the weekly. Monthly looks very similar to Mara, but again, maybe a little bit more exaggerated on the way up, maybe a little bit more exaggerated on the way down. It's so much more exaggerated on the way down that it's closing below the Tenkan Kijun, even though we had a bullish cross over here back in March, right? It's still closing, so far it's still below the Tenkan Kijun. You really want to see it flipping both these lines of support before pushing up higher, but so far it's below. I think there's a good chance that once the consolidation over here is done, it's going to end up pushing up higher. Again, all it's doing right now, maybe initially you think that this could have been a higher low right here and it's just going to keep going up higher. But really, like if you look at the monthly candle, higher high, higher low, higher high, I would consider this maybe a higher low, right? Because this is more of just the waves. I consider this maybe the higher low, right? So far, objectively, this is a bull trend. There's a channel going up, right? It's finding pretty important volume shelf support. It doesn't have to go all the way back down to like 1.2 or 1.3. That's the Ichimoku cloud, Bollinger Band, looking very similar to Mara. It doesn't have as much history for Bitfarms to do the comparison from before, but it's looking pretty similar to Mara, where it's trying to push the Bollinger Band up, but it ended up closing inside. But the 20-month moving average is still also pointing up. So we're probably just kind of got a little bit closer to 20-month moving average. I don't think it has to go back down and touch it. In the bull market, you can stay above the 20 and just ride along the upper Bollinger Band for a very, very long time on the monthly. Right? So I don't expect that to have to happen. Now, the bears are gonna give the bearish narrative. You have a bunch of dilution. You can't use Fibonacci levels. Watch me. What am I doing? Oh, Fibonacci level. Oh no, heresy, or is it heresy? I don't know. If I just roughly draw this, if this is an irrational bull market, despite dilution, irrationality comes in. They're in a hot market. It's a growth market. They've been establishing their businesses in Paraguay and other places. They have the machines to mine more Bitcoin when Bitcoin get irrational, if it does happen. There's always a possibility where it doesn't. Price got rejected here at 0.382. Didn't really quite get back down to 0.136, but got pretty close to around like 1.7 or so, 0.136 around 1.6. Found support here at the volume shelf. It still has, some resistance to kind of push back above over here. There are a couple of volume shelves. The current volume shelf needs to break above, and a volume shelf up here that has been spending some time over here for the last few months to break above. If it's able to break above all that, and it looks like we're building a ton of energy to try and do that, we'll see if it can. If it ends up doing that, next thing the price target is probably at the volume shelf up top right here, which is around like $4.5, somewhere up there, right? Where price spends a significant amount of time over here. Do I think that this is going to end up spending a whole year trying to eat that supply? No, because I think a lot of supply up here has been eaten down here, and a lot of people might be back holding it as well as was up there. And as price go up, they might start to sell, right? So the resistance up here at $5 may not be as great. Again, depending on how irrational the Bitcoin bull market becomes, right? Nobody really knows the answer to any of that. But anyway, I show you the targets. It can get to the teens. It can get to 20 if things get crazy. If you think that this is not possible, it was also not possible for price to went from like 37 cents all the way up to like $4, right? Within just a matter of like a year and a couple of months more, right? So I don't know. Listen to Willy Wonka and use your imagination. But anyway, a little bit snarky today, probably because of the wine. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.